Well, here we are in my hotel room, and we are going to be doing this beautiful quilt. And I have no idea, but it's Christmas time. Christmas time is here. I think I'm going to name this because I'm so excited. I've used a jelly roll with 36 strips, but only used 30. And one of them was from another pack, which is the blue. So my strips are an odd width. It's 2 inches 0.44, so not quite 2.5 inches. When you take in the seam allowance, it's 1.92 inches. It's such a bizarre number. I don't even know how to even calculate that in my head, because I do like straight 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, 3/4 inch, 1 inch. That works for me. So if it doesn't work for you, well, join me and we're gonna try doing this quilt. So this quilt will end up being a 36 by 50 inch quilt. It will have a flannel backing, and then it will have a low loft poly batting in between, and I'll show you how I put this together, and then we're gonna quilt it. So hopefully I do have some things that is in the mail that will be here. By the time you see this, it will already be here and we'll already quilted this. Okay, so I used 30 strips of a 36 bundle. I bought them on Amazon, and I will put the name below. I do believe I have another set of 20 strips jelly roll from the same person, because they cut their strips the same width. Now, if you're thinking about doing this and you have odd strips, try to get down to the smallest one, because if you have to do seam allowances to get those squares or rectangles together, you will be able to do that without it, with all the seams matching. There you go. Okay, so this quilt, how we're gonna put it together is that you're not gonna have to match anything, just the width and the length. And so that's what we're gonna do today. So I will give you how many pieces that you will need for the 2.44 inch width jelly roll, as well as the 2.5, because the 2.5, 2.5 inches, you don't need as many. So for both of the quilts, you'll need a set of 4, another set of 4 vertical strips, and a set of 9 vertical strips. For the 2.44, you're going to need 7 vertical strips and also 7 vertical strips. Did I do that? I did that backwards, didn't I? So you're going to need a set of 4 vertical strips, another set of 4 vertical strips, set of 9 vertical strips, as well as 7 horizontal strips, and another set of 7 horizontal strips. Now for the 2.5, 2.5 inches, it's the same for the vertical. You need 4, for one set 4 strips, another set 4 strips. The 9 is the same, a set of 9 strips for that. Your horizontal though will be 6 and 6. So now I was thinking, after we put it together, we'll see if my math works. It's going to be about 3.86 inches of border that we'll need to do from this side to this side, and divided that by 2, because we're going to separate that. It's like almost 2.25 inches, not quite. And then our top and the bottom is going to be just a little bit more than 2 inches. So, and I think if I did the math right, for the 2.5 inch strips, yours is going to be smaller, because you'll have more area to cover. And we'll get to that when we go along, because I always remeasure and remeasure. And you'll need to have your quilt unfinished at 36.5 inches by 50.5 inches. So you take in the seam allowances. Okay, let's recap on what you're needing. This is 2 strips of 4, And I do want to say that these were supposed to be like 39 inch, not 35. So the method to my madness on here was, this is a sequence: white, red, green, white. Then it would be red, green, white, and then you would add the red. So you need 2 4 strips white, 2 sets. And now we're going on to the next. Alright, now you need 1 set going vertical of 9 strips. Here I decided to go white, red with a popping color. That's the blue. And then white, green, white. Okay, so next, if you're doing a 2.44 inch wide strips, you need to have 2 sets of 7 going horizontal. Now if you are doing 2.5 inch strips, you only need 6. So you can take 1 row out of each of these, but these need to be going horizontal. Also, kind of note, I have a kind of theme going on in this one, where you see the Santas with the reindeer, and then I put that in the middle of this one. Now you may not be able to do some of that, and see in here in this Santa is in the middle of the top set and is in my borders on the edges, the top and the bottom of my second set. So I do have something that's going a little bit not so random in this one. Again, if you're doing 2.44 inches, you need to have 7 rows of strips. If you're doing 2.5 inch strip, you'll need 6. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take the strips down and how I'm going to sew it. I sew left to right. So I'm going to take down all of these strips here and put them together. I'm going to hang them back on the wall. I'm going to show you that this flannel holds. It's just held on by staples. So you want to take them off in order that you're going to sew them. And I have my thing here, my pin cushion, and I'm gonna let those fall because, so I put all of these in order. So when I put them on the sewing machine, they're all ready to go. And then once I get this red one, then the green one's ready, and then the white one is ready to go on the green. Now all of these are basic sew at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You want to press them all one way, but it really doesn't matter, just get it flat. Alright, so that's that bundle. This is a great way to store, you know, if you're not going to get back to your strips right away, this is a great way to save it. Or I always pin them together in how I'm going to sew them in the same grouping. Like this. So now these are ready to go. And when you're doing the ones so horizontal, remember which one's the top and the bottom, because you may be having to sew backwards. So if that's not, I'll show you, it's just real simple just to reorganize your order before you put them away. Okay. So, because I sewed left to right, I have the bottom down, the top going to the bottom. So I want the bottom to come to the top. So I'm just going to rearrange this just by doing this in reverse order. That way, I won't forget how it goes. If I'm really particular on how I want my strips to be. Now, I have been known to turn things upside down and backwards and coming up with a whole new quilt. So, take pictures and screenshots as you go. There, we'll put this here. And then, then I'm gonna do this one the opposite way. Because then I don't have to reorganize them. They will be ready to go. Now this one is all ready to go. I'm making sure that everything is lining up as it should. All right, now we have all of our strips are put together by pins. We hung them back on the flannel just so that we know where they're at, so you can store this at this time. And coming back, be sure that you put a timestamp down where you left off, take a screenshot, and then come on back. So I will also go over into this next section and how did I come up with these colors? I will take the next jelly roll. We'll look at how to determine the different colors so that you can organize your quilt, because sometimes we don't get stuff. This pack had 3 strips of 12 different patterns. Now I have another one that are 20 strips and they're all different. So there's almost like a crazy quilt, but it's like, how do you determine the colors, the lights and the darks? Because sometimes you can't go by light and darks when there's red, green, white, black, maybe blue, and some odd different things that they throw in. So we'll go through that next and how you can determine if they're good for a vertical or a horizontal, because some of my vertical, I can still use a horizontal, but I definitely want to use some of the strips You know, like on this sleigh with the reindeer, these are perfect horizontal. So we can separate those out too. So that's what we'll be doing in this other video. Go to that link and it will show you how to put that together. Otherwise, we're gonna get sewing. Alright, so now that you have your piece all sewn together, this is one of the 4 strips, and you want to run your iron along the back where your seam is from the back side to relax your stitches first, and then you want to align them so that they're all facing one way. It doesn't matter which way you go. I tend to have the fabric towards me and the seam is facing up. So if this was towards you, this seam is up. If I have this wrong way. There we go. So the seam is up depending on which side. So you want all your seams, no matter which way, to go one way. When you are done, come back and we'll have another video on how to slice and dice all of your strips. So I look forward to seeing what you have. So tag me into social media, Star Destiny Creations. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, all those wonderful places of social medias. And I will show you how to measure your fabric and to cut it so that we can make the 36.5 by 50.5 inch quilt. Thank you, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.